Guess who just got back from shoplifting at the American Girl store? Just kidding. I don't have an American Girl store to burglarize. However, I did order one of the brand new Truly Me dolls off of Amazon, and we're gonna do a very quick unboxing video today of her. Full disclosure, I literally just laid eyes on this for the first time. I haven't even seen the doll, but already we got a problem because I've got a very messed up box bottom. So that's really not a big deal to me. I'm trying to recycle my Truly Me boxes, so I'm not going to return her over that. But I did, like I said, I picked this up off of Amazon because that was the quickest way to get one of these and make a video for YouTube. I'm not even going to try and pretend that's not the reason I bought it off of Amazon and not American Girl. So you're probably wondering, which doll did I purchase and how did I make the decision? Well, the one that I wanted the most wasn't available for sale on Amazon yesterday, so I picked up my second choice, which was Truly Me number 130, one of the new American Girl dolls that you can't see because of the gigantic reflection on the window of the box. So yeah, I have not laid eyes on this doll yet. I literally like took her out of the shipping box and like did this and walked in like I was presenting the brand new lion cub to the community. I don't know. So yeah, I have not seen this doll yet. I know that dolls with the Jess mold have had a lot of, we'll say, problems. I don't know. American Girl says it's not a problem, and I often don't think it's a problem, but sometimes, you know, it gets to a point. But yeah, they have issues typically with very, very asymmetrical eyes, and I really do love asymmetry in American Girl dolls. But, you know, I've been very nervous to buy Jess head sculpt dolls online because I've just seen so many of them with such like very, very stark asymmetry that you know, it almost looks like they're like they've got like a facial expression happening like that. So yeah, I just wanted to give you my kind of like knee-jerk reaction to seeing one of these new Truly Me dolls in person. And honestly, even more importantly, I have been dying to see these outfits in person. I am so excited that they have added a lot more separate pieces to the meat outfits for these Truly Me dolls. And you know, a lot of us complained. I didn't complain super hard about it, but to be fair, like, yeah, the previous Truly Me meat outfits were not that great, and most people did not like them, mainly just because, you know, it just didn't scream high quality. And American Girl has typically been known for having very high quality pieces. So this really feels like it's going to be a nice trip back into what was originally American Girl's cornerstone of their products, I feel like, which is like super high quality dolls. So anyway, let me see if I can adjust this so you can get kind of a peek at her in the monitor. I think she's looking pretty good, so I'm very excited to see her. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna do a quick unboxing today. We're probably not gonna go super duper deep into all of my thoughts about everything that's happening with the Truly Me line and, you know, American Girl's trajectory for 2025. I'm gonna save a lot of it for the upcoming episode of my podcast, Mr. American Girl, which you can watch right here on YouTube or listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And I'm going to try and have that episode out in just a couple of days. I'm trying to publish on Thursdays, but schedules can be tricky for me as somebody that suffers from chronic migraines. There are just some days where I cannot work, but I'm doing my best to publish regularly. So anyway, today we're just going to have like a good old fashioned unboxing, which I feel like I don't get to do as many of these lately because I've been focusing so much on my vintage collection and haven't been buying so many new things from American Girl. But I was really excited. I just could not resist the temptation of a brand new Truly Me doll and what I think is going to be a pretty awesome outfit. So let's go ahead and get her out of the box. And like I said, I'm dying to see her. So without further ado, let's have a look. I gotta say, I have some pretty dang good luck with American Girl dolls and facial symmetry because I actually think I got a really good one. I am so excited. Let's see here. So yeah, maybe again, I think this is perfectly acceptable and I would say almost desirable asymmetry in her face. This doll is cute as hell. I have to say, very, very, very excited based on my first impressions seeing her head sculpt. It is really cute. Now, I only have one other Jess head sculpt doll in my collection currently. I think so. That could be a lie. I'm looking around. I've got a lot of dolls at this point, but I have one Ivy Ling doll that I found in the bottom of a box last night. If you want to know the truth, so I have another Jess head sculpt to compare her to, but I haven't had a lot of them because I don't collect that many new, like brand new from like American Girl or like Mattel era dolls. So this is definitely a unique doll in my collection. And I have to say, to see this in person, like This doll looks even better in person than she does in stock photos or even on Instagram when people take like really beautiful photos of them. There's just something about seeing an American Girl doll in person and the translucency of their vinyl. And I will say this like until I drop dead that they have maintained their quality in doll production since the beginning. Again, probably more of a topic for the podcast, but with some slight hiccups here and there, with some growing pains moving to like production to China and stuff. All in all, American Girl dolls are just so high quality. And I have to say, this is a huge step up in terms of quality, at least in terms of the outfits, if I'm comparing to the previous Truly Me dolls, because I have bought a lot of those actually, and most of which have been sold at this point. But I love a new doll. What can I say? And yeah, this doll is fantastic. So I'm just going to go ahead and get her out of the box very quickly just to look. I guess while we've got everything out, one really interesting thing is they have changed the box design just a little bit. I will say they've improved it. I love pink. It's one of my favorite colors. So I really love this as far as the branding goes. We obviously have the obligatory this is basically red at this point. I'm not sure why they're not using a little bit more of a berry color than this like actual red color for their branding, but it's at this point iconic for American Girl. We obviously have the new logo that they've been floating around for the last year or so, and we do have a new format, at least for like showing the doll on the front of the box. I will say this is not my favorite box format. I think that there are some improvements that can be made to this, but this is how they've been doing boxes for like decades at this point, so it's not even worth complaining about. I will say I do love that they've made the picture of the doll larger on the front. It doesn't have all of that extra like graphic design around them and just shrinking the actual photo of the doll down. This looks really great, but again, we're not going to critique doll boxes today, but all in all, this I think is a step up. I prefer this color, and again, it's not a huge difference from what we had before, but I think it's better as long as you like pink. And at the end of the day, it's dolls. I feel like a lot of people that like dolls really like pink. I think it's harder to find someone that just absolutely hates pink that also likes dolls, but they exist and their feelings are valid. So anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and get Truly Me number 130 out of the box. I was going to do my typical thing. You know what? I will. I'm going to be good and try and like, I don't know. It's just this like weird quirk I have. I don't like cutting the little like, they're almost like hang tag. I don't know what you call them. Like the things you put hang tags on garments. I don't like breaking them for some reason because I always like to feel like, oh, this is interesting. Like as I'm sitting here running my mouth, they have done, there's this weird lining in the box here. It's almost like there's like this fabric lining behind her. But yeah, to look at here, there's obviously a reason for doing this. Maybe we'll find out as we get her out of the box, but I can't do my typical like safely remove the doll from the box without tearing anything, because the straps are actually pierced through a piece of fabric in here, which I'm gonna guess is just for like probably like color transfer, or maybe it's the sleeves of the jacket. Maybe we'll know more once I cut this open. Alrighty, doing the thing that I hate doing, which is destroying packaging. I don't know what's wrong with me, but one of these days I'll pick a struggle, but there's quite a few things wrong with me at this point. He says as he opens his brand new doll from his box at 40 years old. Oops, gotta cut two more things. On to my favorite part, which is popping the neck strap. Very unsatisfying, but I'm probably using so much audio technology today to drown out the sound of my air conditioning blasting because it's like 1,000 degrees here. You probably wouldn't hear it anyway. Okay, so let's see if we can get this girly pop out of here. Something's stuck. It's probably her wig, and I'm about to yank it off. Girl, let go. Oh, she's got a waist strap. All right, they really strap these things in here. I gotta say, it's kind of funny because this box is so messed up. It's probably needed at this point. If these things are just getting like yanked around every which way on their trip home, I guess it makes sense to strap them in like 1,000 times. Okay. Maybe that was the final straw. All right, we got her. I'm just gonna set that over there on Ivy Ling's head. All right, and we'll take that off. Y'all, this is a freaking cute doll. I gotta say, I really, really, really like her head sculpt. And again, these outfits, like honestly, the outfit is what pushed me over the edge to purchase this doll today because while this doll is great, I really am trying to keep my Truly Me doll collection down to a shout, especially with regards to the girl dolls. I collect all of the boy versions, and while the create your owns were available, I was buying a lot of create your own boy dolls. But I just have so many dolls. I'm trying not to have like literally 50 dolls that are just Mattel era. So I'm really trying to be careful about what I cycle into my collection. And so, full disclosure, as I'm sitting here excited about this doll, and she's really great, there is a good chance she won't stay in my collection for a super long time. I really just love getting these things and enjoying them for a little while and then kind of sending them on their way for somebody else to enjoy. But I have to say, I really like her. This outfit is fantastic. It's very high quality. I would say, in terms of thickness of fabrics and stuff, I think that this is appropriate for this scale of clothes. Again, like I've seen some people make things with like human scale denim, and I think that that works. But this feels like a little bit more doll scale, which I think is really great. But the quality on all of this is, like, I have to say, fantastic. These shoes, I think we've seen several times before. This is just like a new color variant of them. I love these socks, and we're definitely seeing a theme of like this new color palette that they've been using. I believe this was developed by Pentagram. They did basically like a big brand refresh using the graphic design company Pentagram. And that's the company that redid their logo and did a lot of like mock-up products and just a lot of graphic work to basically just update the American Girl line for probably the next 10 years or so. And one of the things that was part of their sort of their like brand redesign was introducing some new colors to their color palette, and we're seeing a lot of them in this Truly Me collection. So it's sort of this like semi-rainbow kind of thing. It's not like a true like Roy G. Biv rainbow because some colors are notably missing, but it's like this blue, green, yellow, pink, and red. And that sort of seems like it's going to be American Girl's sort of extended signature color palette. We'll have sort of like the berry color that is like the brand color, and then these sort of additional like supplementary colors. I think we're going to be seeing more of this stuff throughout the Truly Me line, but this makes a whole lot of sense. Like even just looking at the graphic design for the box, for instance, that's probably the main reason they took the purple off of the front of the box, was because this pink and red are actually part of the color palette that we're starting to see with sort of, again, the brand refresh that I would venture to say we're probably going to see a lot of for the next 5 to 10 years. But I think it's really great. I really love this color palette more than the one they've been using. I think it's really fresh, and it kind of feels rainbowish, but not like overly like on the nose about it, like super like unicorny. Emphasis on corny, which I guess also, by the way, happy Pride while we're still allowed to celebrate it. But apparently people don't like when I get political on this channel. So sorry for making you uncomfortable for 2 seconds because you don't like gay people. Okay, anyway, so yeah, right off the bat, this outfit is really great. I want to go ahead and get her hairnet off because I'm sure you're dying to see what her hair actually looks like, because we are starting to see bangs trickle back in. I mean, they've never really left. There have been Truly Me dolls in the like since like in the last few years that have had bangs, but I'm just really glad that we're not getting rid of bangs altogether, and we're continuing to see more of them, because I really like bangs on dolls just because, my formative years were Molly, Samantha, and Kirsten. So I just, I love an American Girl doll with bangs. What can I say? All right, let's go ahead and take her hairnet off. Try and only pull that off and not her entire wig. All right, if you're not paying attention, this is the part you probably want to look at. This is where her hairnet comes off. And this woman has a good set of hair at first glance. Let me have a quick look here. It's her. I have to say her wig isn't super full, but honestly, doll wigs I think can actually get too full to a point. It sounds like I'm sitting here bootlicking Mattel. Like that's not what I'm doing. But I do think that doll wigs can get so full that they almost feel like unrealistic. So I would say this is perfectly acceptable in terms of wig density. I think especially as I brush it out some, but I don't know. I gotta say, like, they could have done this a little bit fuller, I have to say. But, I will have another thing I do want to mention while we're talking about this, and it's on my mind. I really do need to commend American Girl for, I know they raised the prices, but it wasn't by much. It was only by $10. And, we've seen this coming from a mile away. I really don't think it was due to the tariffs, at least at this point, just based on the timeline of everything. I don't know what's going to happen in the future with all of that stuff. We'll report on it as, we find things out in real time. But they did, like, obviously there's a huge increase in cost in doing complicated outfits like this for Truly Me dolls. So it is no surprise to me that the price went up by $10, because I would say we certainly got a value increase in terms of like the outfits that I think is at least worth $10. I think one of the ways they were able to sort of compensate for that as well is there are no longer books or journals shipping with the Truly Me dolls. So I have to say, for personal reasons, that's no big deal to me. As an adult doll collector, I don't really sit down and fill out journals and stuff. And I just would end up with stacks of these books that I had no use for that nobody else wanted to buy, and they just end up in the paper recycler. So for me personally, that's not really that big of a deal. I feel like the historical line and the Girl of the Year line is really where American Girl is trying to tell all of their stories. These are dolls at the end of the day. They are playthings, and it's not like children aren't going to be making up their own stories as they're playing with their dolls. So yeah, would it be great to have a book in certain instances? Yes, but at the same time, I bet you a lot of those books ended up in either a landfill or the recycling bin. So it's, to me, it's not really that big of a deal that the books are no longer here, especially because we are getting really high quality outfits. So I think with the absence of the book and the $10 price increase, that's why we have these really great outfits. Let me go ahead and fix her bangs because they look insane. This isn't like my absolute favorite bang style, but I don't hate it. I'm obviously going to have to learn how to like style this in a way that looks cool, but I've definitely seen this bang style look good on other dolls. I don't mind the center part in it. I think it's pretty cool. But one interesting thing about this bang style is often, like, if you try and brush the center part together, like the hairs in the middle are longer. So I really think they want you to have the part in this wig. And honestly, I think it looks better being, well, I don't know. It's pretty cute, but it would take some training to kind of get her to have like more traditional, like choppy front bangs. But I kind of like the part. I think it's cute. So the $10 price increase, isn't our favorite thing in the world, but I really feel like we see where our extra $10 is going. And again, I think for children that maybe are only getting one doll, it's so awesome that they have a really complete multi-piece outfit. That's one thing that I thought about this the other day, like, because I've been thinking a lot about the Truly Me line. Again, we'll probably talk about it in the future in a little bit more in depth, but there are things to be learned from dolls other than just like writing a story about it. And one of the things I wanted to say was that I feel like showing children what high quality products are and what the standard can be for a really well made product, there is value in that. I know maybe it's a little bit capitalist, but seeing craftsmanship and good quality materials and things constructed well, that is still something that I think is very valuable to children. So I do know that, again, that there will be people that are not happy that the books have been removed from this line completely. But I will say, if it means having a higher quality product, there is value in that. And, giving children the opportunity to have higher quality things. And like I said, you just can kind of set a higher standard of expectation for a child, which, I guess that sounds crazy to say out loud. But what I mean is, like, it is important to know when things are good quality and not good quality, in my personal opinion, anyway. And also, another really awesome thing about the new Truly Me update is each doll gets an additional t-shirt with her outfit, which, again, this is like so extra. They would not, I think they could have gotten away with not doing this and nobody would have been like, oh, this sucks, and had a lot of, like, literally there was no like reason to do this other than just to make the product that much better. I'm trying to, good God. Okay, so they have, I will say, the use of plastic I don't love, but this is really, there's not a whole lot of plastic in this whole thing. And the dolls are made out of vinyl, not plastic, and I kind of don't count them. But really, the only plastic in all of this now is the little porthole on the front of the box and like the little neck strap and basically this bag in here, which, I'm sure they had their reasons. But yeah, we now have like an additional t-shirt that comes with every single Truly Me doll, including the boys, which again, we'll touch on it later. I'm so glad they brought them back, and I will be getting one of them. I just already have both of those boy dolls, so I will literally just be buying one to get the new outfit. But it is so cool that there is an additional t-shirt that comes with this. So again, if a child is only getting the doll and they have like they're not getting extra outfits or anything, I mean, maybe this is a recession indicator. I don't know. They're gonna have some options at least with their doll, so they can, obviously take the jacket on and or take the jacket off and put it back on again. That's one option for like changing up the look. I guess they could take the socks off. And then, most importantly, they can change the t-shirt, which I think is like pretty cool. So, you have different ways of kind of restyling this doll. So if they don't have any extra outfits because the American Girl doll was a big splurge from their parent, or even if they like saved up their money to buy the doll, they have play value right out of the box, which I think is really, really great. So real quickly, while I have it put aside, let's have a look at the jacket kind of sort of up close-ish. I will say it was very wrinkled coming out of the box. Maybe it was just mine, but she was obviously like lying down on this for quite some time, months, I would say, because of how long it takes to get these things manufactured and delivered to the customer. So, I mean, she was probably in this thing for a couple of months before unboxing her. So, a little bit wrinkled, but the quality overall is really good. Oh my gosh. This, like, it's got this patch on the back. So, the AG logo here is just embroidered, but the back, it's not technically a patch. I don't think. You know what? It is. They have an embroidered patch on here. The American Girl star logo is sort of this like low pile. It's probably like a fleece or something, but it has the look of a chenille patch and it's embroidered all the way around. This is a very high quality jacket and honestly my favorite piece of the new Truly Me outfits. This I think is so iconic. And I know they're making child size versions of these as well. And I think they make them in large enough sizes that some adults can wear them, which is really, really cool. But this is great quality. I do not know how this particular fabric will age because over time, like these polyurethane leathers tend to peel. I don't know if the technology has been fixed at this point, but as long as that fabric stays intact, I think this is really, really great. I think this is more of like a sweatshirt material, but again, like A plus on this. This is a really great piece and really one of the main reasons I bought an entire doll was to get this really awesome jacket. Um, so anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put the other t-shirt on her just, while we're sitting here gabbing and we can have a look at that. But I really would love to know your opinions in the comments on the new Truly Me refresh. I think that they have done a pretty excellent job on this. I think they really exceeded everybody's expectations, and I'm really, really excited about the things to come over the next like year or so because I think that they've been working really hard to like sort of refresh the brand, really start paying more attention to their historical collection. And to me, it just feels like they're getting back to their roots, which is so, you know, it, brands have to try different things, right? But I really feel like they're really paying attention to their roots lately. And that makes me really happy because American Girl has such strong roots. I mean, they have been just such a powerhouse in the doll industry for God, like almost 40 years now. So it's really, really exciting to see this brand continue to like, be treated with care by the people that are working on it. So I'm so excited about all of the stuff that's on the way. In fact, I think that there are some new outfits on the way that they sort of had like little teasers for on the front page of the website, which if you're watching this like pretty soon after this video goes up, you can probably see it if you go to the homepage. There are a couple of outfits in there that are very like, one of them in particular is like very late 90s inspired, which I obviously really love as a geriatric person that loves nostalgic things from, the 1900s. But yeah, a really, really awesome outfit that I probably will pick up when it goes on sale, assuming it's not like $75. But um, yeah, just really, really great things coming out of American Girl. And I think this Truly Me refresh is a really great sign of things to come. This is her and her alternative t-shirt, which I think is so cute. It's that lovely light pink color. And again, we have sort of their like supplementary brand colors, the red, pink, yellow, green, and blue. I love this. It's like rainbow, but not rainbow. It's very, very cute. And again, I think this is a way of like adding color to a brand where this does not feel like Barbie to me. Like, or at least how we stereotypically think of Barbie. It was just like all of these extra things and just like, I don't know. You know what I mean when you say like Barbie-fied? Like, I think that's great for Barbie, but American Girl was not like, it was sort of like the anti-Barbie when they launched or when Pleasant Roland launched the company. So I love that we are seeing bright colors, but it doesn't feel like super glitzy and glammy like a Barbie. I think this feels like something a child would like. I mean, not that I would know, but I mean, to me, this looks aspirational to a child. It doesn't look like puppies, kittens, and rainbows. It's sort of like a slightly grown up version of it. It's still like kiddish, but at the same time, this feels a little bit more like I said, just aspirational. It's not like so overly saccharine. I really do love this new refresh. So while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and put her jacket back on because hello, it is like the coolest thing I think outside of the doll that I purchased today. I'm trying to see if it's long enough to like tie. Like I love doing this with my dolls, like sort of like Nikki Hoffman's like 90s look is like tying it around their waist, but you know what? That doesn't look too great. Let's go ahead and put the jacket like actually back on her. But yeah, this is all I ended up buying. There is like a new accessory set that I think is pretty cute. It's got like that like bootleg Stanley cup with the American Girl logo on it. I think there's a beret in there, a really cute like metallic backpack with patches on it, and bracelets, like child size and doll size matching bracelets, which is really cool. I probably will pick that up from American Girl next time I place an order like directly from them. So but yeah, today all we have is the doll. So that's all we're looking at. But I figure a lot of you are probably like wanting to see like actual video footage of some of these dolls because I'm sure a lot of you are like trying to make the decision whether or not to buy one. But I gotta say, if you're on the fence and you really want a new outfit for your doll, I mean, I gotta say, I really like this doll. I love what they've done with this refresh. That said, I have ordered number 132. She was the one that I probably would have purchased first just because I really love the wig on that doll. I think it's so cool looking. I love those like little tendrily bangs. Like, and she seems to be like, at least amongst adult collectors, probably the most popular with this refresh, or like with these new like 3 dolls that they've added to the line. So I did purchase her today and she's on the way. So we'll probably get an unboxing video on this channel, probably in a couple days. I don't know what day, but as soon as I feel like it. All right. But I gotta say, I'm really excited. Like I said, I might not have ordered this doll had 132 been available, but I don't know. I just wanted something quickly. And I'm really glad I got this doll. I have to say, she has exceeded my expectations to see her in person. A really, really great head sculpt. I think the painted on eyelashes actually look pretty good on her too. Oh, real quickly before I actually brought in my like bottom of the box Ivy Ling dolls so we could compare them because I know that a lot of people were saying that two of the three of the new dolls look like basically modernized versions of Ivy Ling and Julie. So I brought my like Ivy Ling out to compare, but these like you can definitely tell. I have no idea when this doll was made, by the way. I literally found her in the bottom of a box. I had no idea I even had her. But you can definitely tell that this head sculpt has had some changes since Ivy's like original release. I can tell already like they've made the eyes bigger. Her head overall looks bigger to me. Like Ivy's head and face seem smaller. So these dolls look very, very different to me, almost to the point where they look like different head sculpts. But yeah, they have certainly changed this doll over time. So if you have Ivy and you're like, well, I can't justify like getting a new doll, I'm here to like enable you to get a second Jess head sculpt because I do think that they are quite different. And forgive me that Ivy doesn't have an outfit on. Again, I literally found her in the bottom of a box last night. I have so much more to say about this line, but like I said, we're going to reserve it for a full deep dive into the Truly Me line on this week's episode of Mr. American Girl. So be sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss that episode when it comes out on YouTube. Or if you want to listen to the audio version, it is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts that you can subscribe there. And if you are there, a lovely review would be nice because it's a new podcast and it kind of helps me reach people. So I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out my Patreon where you can find hours and hours of exclusive content about American Girl that you can't find anywhere else on the internet. I do all kinds of things like mail unboxings and talking about drama in the doll community. And one of the things I've been doing recently that's been really fun is basically doing a screencast of shopping along on eBay and looking at different listings and making fun of some of them, but also like just showing people what to look out for when they're buying Vintage Pleasant Company dolls, you know, looking for pitfalls and scams and just how to spot really high value items. And if it's not educational for you, I think it's pretty fun. It's fun to just kind of sit down for an hour and look at eBay listings together. So I've been doing a lot of that lately. And if you want to like a preview of that, there are a few videos back on my channel. There is actually a full free preview of one of those episodes on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, be sure to do that. As I mentioned before, I am downsizing my collection. When I say that, it's really more just like clearing space so I can add more stuff. So it's not really downsizing, but I am selling a lot of things. So be sure to check out idreamofjohnny.com. That's JONNY, where I have a lot of not only merch like this hoodie that people ask me about. You can buy this there, but I'm also selling a lot of like my vintage stuff from my collection that is either like duplicates or just things that have come in lots and things that I just have extras of. And there's been a lot of really cool stuff in there, and I typically sell for lower than eBay prices. So check that out if you're in the market for buying vintage doll stuff. All right, that's gonna do it for today. I hope you like my new dolly, and if you want to keep hanging out, I have tons more videos on YouTube, so I'd love to keep hanging out with you there. And until I see you probably later this week, please be sure to do something nice for yourself and take care of yourself and those around you that you care about. And I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.